Most definitely. Do you think that Charles will be able to move on from this and not allow his tenure as king, his reign, to be tainted by this scandal?
Ooh, I mean, there's so much that King Charles has had to dodge over the last few years. Racism allegations, Harry and Meghan lobbing those from the United States.
January 2026. The royal family just crawled out of what insiders are calling their messiest year in decades, and now another shockwave is hitting hard. A revelation so intense is spreading through palace walls that some believe it could shake the monarchy to its core. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former royal who lost his titles and status, is now being linked to Meghan Markle in ways no one was ever supposed to talk about publicly. Whispers are growing louder about how Meghan and Andrew may have crossed paths in high-profile social spaces long before Harry was ever part of the story. These were elite environments where influential people mixed freely, and sources claim the palace worked overtime to keep those connections quiet.
I've been told from an excellent source that both Andrew and Sarah are in a bit of a quandary, a bit of a dilemma. As you know, the stories are just emulating every single day, and they're never positive. The problem is this particular ongoing investigation regarding Jeffrey Epstein and his disgraceful behaviour. There's no other two ways to describe it.
What's making this even more unsettling is how King Charles and Catherine are said to be reacting in private, with insiders hinting that their behavior suggests they know far more than they are letting on. Behind palace doors, things are reportedly tense. If the rumors circulating among royal watchers are even partly true, and Andrew really did know Meghan before her relationship with Harry through shared social networks, then some uncomfortable questions are bound to surface. Some believe Harry may not have fully understood how far back these connections possibly went. What you're about to hear challenges the official version of events and forces a second look at everything people thought they understood about Meghan Markle and the royal inner circle.
Something strange here that's starting to become a pattern, and you can see it here in this video. Right after he says, "I found the love of my life," there is a weird pause of discomfort. You do not have to be a profiler or anything to see this. You'll feel it.
I've now found the love of my life.
Here's where things get heavy. Andrew didn't just fall from grace, he lost everything. In October 2025, King Charles officially removed his remaining title and forced him out of Royal Lodge. Every last royal benefit was taken away. Overnight, he went from His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, Duke of York, to simply Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And when someone loses that much, attention shifts fast. According to sources familiar with royal circles, Andrew allegedly held information about Meghan that went back years before she ever met Harry. Not rumors, but knowledge about the professional and social environment she moved through and the powerful people she interacted with during that time. What's driving insiders up the wall is this confirmed detail. Back in October 2016, news of Harry and Meghan's relationship leaked to the press. That wasn't random. Author Tina Brown confirmed that a staff member connected to the House of York tipped off the tabloids. People are still asking why Andrew's household would do that in the first place. What reason would there be to push that story out so early unless there was something Andrew already knew? Unless there was past context within shared circles that made him want the relationship exposed before it got serious. Some believe it may have been a warning shot, not a coincidence. Now look at the timeline closely. Meghan was reportedly attending high-end networking events and working within exclusive professional environments years before meeting Harry. At the same time, Andrew was known to frequent many of those same elite social spaces through his public roles and connections.
There's no coming back for him, is there? I mean, you detail a lot of it in the book. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of, but he can't come back now, surely.
I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think he'd necessarily want to. I mean, he's been pretty bruised from the whole of the experience.
The overlap alone has raised eyebrows among royal historians, even without jumping to conclusions. Here's another moment that never sat right with royal biographers. Harry once claimed Meghan mistook Prince Andrew for a staff member when she first met the family. That's Harry's own account. But here's the twist. Meghan was already close friends with Princess Eugenie before meeting Harry, and that friendship is confirmed. Eugenie is Andrew's daughter. So critics are asking one sharp question. How does someone know the daughter well but not recognize the father? That detail has been openly questioned by royal biographers, and it continues to spark debate inside royal commentary circles to this day. How does someone know a woman's daughter well enough to be close friends, yet not recognize her father at all?
Brian or others, that they will really spill the beans. And therefore, best to keep them close, both of them. And that's, they walk this tightrope. There's speculation, there's been leaks to the press that, there's been a summit at Balmoral and they're talking as a result of my book about what they can do. That's all window dressing. Nothing will happen. Nothing will change.
That gap raised serious eyebrows. To critics, it made no sense unless something else was happening behind the scenes. If Meghan openly acknowledged knowing Andrew, it could have opened the door to uncomfortable follow-up questions. People would ask how they met, where they crossed paths, and what kind of circles they shared. Questions she likely wanted nowhere near her story. Acting confused may have felt like the safest move, treating Andrew as just another face in the room. But insiders say palace staff noticed right away. According to sources tied to Andrew, his household was reportedly unhappy about the servant remark. And that tension didn't fade quietly.
I got approached by a guy named Jeff Rayner, who spoke to me and said, "I can change your image," he said. The idea was that these would all be candid shots, discreet, no one would know they were posed or anything. It would be just me doing my routine daily. I was feeling that this was very hokey and hammy.
Some royal watchers believe that moment mattered. It may explain why Andrew's camp allegedly allowed word of Harry and Meghan's relationship to reach the press not long after. Timing like that doesn't usually happen by accident. Now, let's rewind to what insiders call Meghan's mystery years. The time before Suits, before global fame, when her movements were less documented. Those years are still debated, especially her presence at high-end networking events and luxury social gatherings.
I'm not going to go down to this point. I'm going to answer your questions, but that's done. It's finished. I've answered it. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next question.
This is just the starting point of this year in your life that you've written about.
Thank you very much.
It's pivotal. It's what started the whole thing.
Thank you.
You do write, though, that this tabloid scandal, in fact, you almost feel thankful for it. It let you, review your life, see where you were.
Online, old photos once circulated showing women on yachts at elite events where Prince Andrew was also present. When Meghan's name became loosely tied to that conversation, the official response was quick and firm. Fact-checking outlets stepped in fast, stating the women in the images were not Meghan. Photos dating back to around 2010 were heavily examined, and the message became clear almost overnight. But here's the part that caught attention. The discussion shut down fast. The palace never issued a direct statement. Yet media voices moved in sync to shut it down. If there was nothing there, critics ask, why rush to silence it?
Would like to look at a timeline of what's happened for Meghan, because over time she started off, and there was no question that she had, her values were about forwarding Meghan. That's what it's about. And about, covering that with a bit of charity work. How lovely. So she meets...
Why not let speculation burn out on its own? Some believe the concern wasn't about specific photos at all. It was about what might happen if people started digging deeper into shared elite circles. Once curiosity kicks in, people start connecting dots, and more information can surface whether anyone wants it to or not. Author Kirby Summers has written about Meghan's presence at luxury social events with wealthy figures. Separate reporting has long documented Andrew's attendance at exclusive gatherings with high-profile individuals. Those social environments were small, tight, and connected. That overlap alone has fueled years of debate.
Oh, people spit in your face when they see you walking down the street. I hope, they throw human feces at you because of how you really are as a person inside.
Did Meghan and Andrew ever cross paths at one of those events? Did they know some of the same people? Did shared connections quietly exist before Harry entered the picture? These are the kinds of questions the palace prefers unanswered. And insiders say efforts were made to keep curiosity in check. Things take another turn when looking at King Charles. Despite stripping Andrew of titles and public roles, Charles has reportedly softened behind closed doors. Sources claim he still communicates with Andrew, allows limited staff access, and has taken a less aggressive tone privately. This stands out because Charles is known for protecting the monarchy at all costs. He had no issue letting Andrew take a public fall, so why show caution now?
Long story short, all right, I do blame Meghan Markle Meghan Markle, stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the stain of humanity. I hope people spit in your face.
Some insiders believe Charles is managing risk, not family feelings. According to sources, there's concern about what Andrew knows, not only about past controversies, but about who knew what and when. That reportedly includes sensitive details related to Meghan's background. Here's a final layer that adds heat. Charles is said to have compared Meghan to Sarah Ferguson early on, an outsider marrying in, adored by the media at first, then slowly surrounded by controversy. Charles saw that pattern coming. But critics now ask a sharper question. Was it just pattern recognition, or did Charles already know more than he ever admitted? Did King Charles already have information about Meghan's past links to Andrew's social circles? Did he try to warn Harry, only to be brushed off?
Outlets because they don't like what they're going to say. It's so bizarre to me because while he complains about it, he does the same thing that everybody else does, that the royal family does.
Oh, exactly. No, they're all trading information and trying to protect their principles. But even with, my story with him and the fight with Andrew,
those questions keep coming up among royal watchers who believe concerns were raised but never fully addressed. Royal biographer Nigel Cawthorne revealed that Charles anticipated serious trouble long before Meghan officially joined the family. According to him, Charles recognized warning signs because he had already lived through public fallout with Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, and even earlier with Diana. He understood how quickly things could spiral when private issues meet global media pressure.
Very, very far. So I see this picture and I see that it's 2014, and Ben goes, had such a fun night with this wonderful lady, Meghan Markle, last night. Thanks, Marcus Anderson.
Is that Soho House? Probably.
I'm assuming that's Soho House.
Yeah.
Why is he thanking Marcus Anderson?
Princess Catherine's reaction has been just as telling. She has stayed completely silent on all things Sussex for years. No comments, no reactions, no public engagement at all. She keeps her composure locked tight. But sources close to Catherine claim she's privately uneasy about the Andrew situation, not only because of Epstein-related matters, but because of what may exist regarding shared elite social circles involving Meghan. According to those sources, Catherine believes Harry deserves the full picture. That belief reportedly deepened in December 2025, when newly released Epstein-related files surfaced. Buried within those documents were references to Harry and Meghan, not accusations, but clear evidence of how valuable their names were in media discussions. One email from March 2020 showed people discussing an article where Harry commented on Andrew's Epstein friendship. That single story reportedly generated $4 million in publicity value. $4 million from one piece tying the Sussex name to Andrew. The documents made one thing clear. Andrew's scandal and the Sussex drama were tightly linked in media coverage, whether anyone liked it or not. What really stopped people cold came next. In 2021, Virginia Giuffre's lawyer publicly stated he wanted to depose Meghan during the Andrew case. Not because Meghan was accused of wrongdoing, but because the lawyer believed she might have knowledge of Andrew's activities and associations. Let that sink in. A legal professional representing victims believed Meghan Markle may have had relevant insight into Prince Andrew's social world. That belief only makes sense if Meghan had been present in or around similar elite environments. The deposition never happened, the case settled.
Yes, I mean, look, we know that the couple have been plagued by allegations that they're difficult to work for. Many people have actually left employment there and needed long-term therapy, as it was said in there, having worked with the Duchess. No suggestion necessarily that this chap was being bullied. Some reports that they were unhappy with.
But the statement remains on record. That alone keeps questions alive. Why would a lawyer even consider Meghan a potential source unless there was reason to believe she had first-hand awareness of Andrew's circles? Here's the harsh truth. Even if Meghan and Andrew crossed paths socially before Harry, even if they knew some of the same wealthy people, the palace can never openly admit it. Doing so would mean admitting Meghan's background wasn't fully examined. It would mean acknowledging that elite social connections weren't completely mapped out. It would also mean admitting the Sussex situation was more complicated than anyone publicly claimed. Harry walked away from royal life, damaged his relationship with William, and strained ties with Charles, possibly without ever knowing the full scope of his wife's past social connections. That's why the palace stays quiet. They respond to individual photos when forced, but they never address the bigger question of whether Meghan and Andrew moved in connected elite circles before Harry. That silence isn't accidental. It's because answering that question would open the floodgates to even more questions. And that brings everything back to October 2016. Harry and Meghan had been dating privately for 4 months. He wanted time, space, and privacy. Then suddenly, a servant from Andrew's household leaked the relationship to the Sunday Express. The headline said it all: Harry secretly dating American actress Meghan Markle. The leak hit fast, and oddly enough, it was glowing. The coverage praised Meghan's humanitarian work and painted the relationship like a modern royal fairy tale. The tone wasn't hostile at all. It was warm, flattering, and carefully framed. That's what made people pause. This wasn't some random rumor drop. It felt intentional, almost like someone wanted to push the relationship into the open while keeping it positive. But here's the twist. The leak didn't come from Harry's circle. It came from Andrew's household. So the question is obvious. Why would Andrew's staff care about Harry's private love life? Why rush to expose a relationship Harry was trying to keep quiet? There are a few possible explanations. 1, someone in Andrew's orbit wanted early control of the narrative. 2, Andrew's household may have already known things about Meghan through elite social circles. Or 3, the leak served a strategic purpose that still hasn't been fully explained. Tina Brown later suggested the positive framing may have been deliberate and useful. But the detail that still stands out is the source: Andrew's household. That connection has never been clearly addressed, and it continues to raise eyebrows.
I feel as if the media treats women unfairly.
You don't really have an opinion. And I think it's quite fun to keep coming back with an opinion. Is that the rebel in me?
I think that might be the rebel in you.
Several decades later, Diana's son Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle have now become the big targets in the British media.
Now think about this from Harry's perspective. He truly believes he met Meghan through Eugenie in a casual, almost accidental introduction. He believes his family rejected her because of jealousy and prejudice. He doesn't know about internal concerns, background discussions, or quiet investigations. Harry also doesn't know that his uncle's household leaked his relationship. He doesn't know about overlapping elite social circles. He doesn't know that lawyers once believed Meghan might have insight into Andrew's activities. All of that stayed out of his line of sight. People around Harry chose protection over transparency. The palace, security teams, advisors, even close friends. No one wanted to sit him down and explain how complex things really were. No one wanted to be the one to complicate his happiness. So Harry moves forward without the full picture. Meanwhile, others have it. That's why William keeps his distance. That's why Charles remains cautious. That's why Catherine maintains strict, formal boundaries. They're operating with information Harry may not have. Sources say Charles and Catherine held private discussions in late December focused on Andrew. Not just about his past controversies, but about what he knows regarding shared elite social networks. That knowledge is what worries them most. Charles is reportedly weighing options to keep Andrew quiet. Limited access, controlled privileges, anything that reduces the risk of him speaking freely about sensitive royal matters. It's not kindness, it's containment. Catherine, on the other hand, is said to want a firmer line. No access, no favors, no space for Andrew to talk. She believes accommodating him only creates future problems. Her approach is about protection, not sympathy. William is stuck in the middle. He understands his father's desire to keep things calm. He also agrees with Catherine's instinct to shut doors before damage spreads. Sources say William leans toward Catherine's position because the stakes are bigger than family tension. If Andrew ever speaks openly about elite social connections involving Meghan, it wouldn't just impact the Sussex story. It would hit the credibility of the entire monarchy. It would raise questions about vetting, oversight, and what the palace knew before marriage approvals.
Prince Charles married Princess Diana, who was probably more of an aristocrat, more blue-blooded than he was, apparently.
How is that possible?
I think her family was more English, more going back generations. Fergie, she came after Princess Diana.
So was she famous beforehand? I know like Meghan Markle was an actor.
No.
That's why Charles wants careful management. That's why Catherine wants firm boundaries. That's why William is quietly preparing for possible revelations. They all understand Andrew holds information that could complicate everything. So far, Meghan has made no public comment about Andrew losing his title. And inside palace walls, that silence is being watched closely. Meghan hasn't spoken about the Epstein files at all. She hasn't addressed Andrew, not even indirectly. That silence is noticeable, especially because she usually speaks out on major issues and often emphasizes transparency and accountability. But when it comes to Andrew, there's nothing. No statements, no commentary, no positioning. According to sources, that silence isn't accidental. Meghan is believed to be fully aware of what information exists about overlapping elite social circles. She knows what background checks were done. She knows what questions were raised privately, and she understands that if Andrew ever speaks freely, complicated issues could resurface fast. People close to the situation say Meghan is deeply concerned behind the scenes. There's worry about what Andrew might reveal, particularly about how certain high-level social networks connected. The timeline matters. Who knew who, and when? Those details could reopen debates she can't control. And that's the key point. Meghan has no leverage over Andrew. He's already lost his titles, status, and position. You can't pressure someone who has nothing left to lose. That reality makes the situation unpredictable. Here's what the available evidence suggests. Before Suits, Meghan moved within elite social environments. She attended exclusive events and built connections with wealthy and influential figures. That wasn't unusual in those circles. At the same time, Andrew was deeply involved in similar high-end networks through powerful associates. These were overlapping worlds, tight spaces where the same names, faces, and events kept reappearing. It's highly likely Meghan and Andrew crossed paths more than once over several years. Even if they weren't close, mutual connections would have existed naturally in those settings. When Meghan later sought deeper access to royal connections, her friendship with Eugenie played a role in facilitating her introduction to Harry. From there, the relationship developed quickly. But behind the scenes, Andrew's household leaked the romance for reasons that still aren't fully clear. Then came the moment that raised alarms. Meghan not recognizing Andrew publicly created awkward questions about how well she knew his daughter. That moment didn't pass unnoticed inside the palace. It reportedly triggered deeper internal concern about overlapping elite social networks. At that stage, stopping the wedding would have required explanations the palace wasn't prepared to give, so they moved forward while quietly managing complications in private. Now Andrew has lost everything, and the information about shared networks hasn't disappeared. If anything, it's becoming more relevant. What's being discussed internally confirms that these elite social circle connections were more complex than the public was ever told. Charles and Catherine are reportedly working hard to manage the situation, but controlling information is impossible when multiple people hold pieces of the same history. That's the risk they're facing. So, the real question isn't whether Meghan and Andrew moved in connected elite circles before Harry. That part seems increasingly clear. The real question is when the full scope of those connections becomes public knowledge. Andrew knows details. The palace investigated thoroughly, and Meghan's continued silence on anything related to Andrew isn't accidental. It's a strategic move to avoid reopening difficult questions about elite social networking history. If you watch this and have thoughts, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see it.